Good morning, everyone. 907. Glad you're with us. Thank you much. Dixon and Vining at Talk 99.5. Talk995.com. Pretty looking day. Lots of sunshine. It's the 26th of August, and we've got a pretty day in front of us, a high of 91. And yeah, there are some rain chances today. Look out for that, starting out in South Alabama, maybe making its way this way in central Alabama as the day progresses. Tomorrow, a 40% chance of rain, 87, 30% chance of rain Friday, 88 in the weekend. Looking pretty nice with daytime highs both days around 89. So not too bad out there. Thank you for joining us. Don't forget to check us out on YouTube, Real Talk 995 TV, and download our app because everything is right there at your fingertips. Text us, listen to us, watch us, listen to the podcast. There's about a million things you can do with it, and the best part is that it is absolutely free to you. All right, let's get into it now. Steve's turn.
It's Steve's turn.
Well, strap in. This is going to be one of the longest ones I think I've ever done. Of course, yesterday got the news that legendary singer, songwriter, actress, and, well, let's face it, so much more, Dolly Parton passed away. She was born Dolly Rebecca Parton, January 19th, 1946, in a little town called Pittman Center, Tennessee, in a little tiny one-room cabin that didn't even have electricity. She was the fourth of 12 children to a homemaker and a jack of all trades. Her father, she said, despite being really relatively uneducated in his life, ended up being a sharecropper, a tobacco farmer, and a construction worker, basically did whatever it took to keep his family fed. A lesson that she learned early: you work hard, you can make a success out of yourself. Parton noted that it was her mother, though, where she got her musical talent, and her mother encouraged her to follow that path. So with her, as she would say later on, her father's business acumen and her mother's musical talent to propel her, she started singing very proudly in church at the age of 6. At 7 years old, using a homemade guitar, started to learn how to play that and became talented enough to grab the attention of a local Knoxville radio station. They would bring young Dolly in, come in, perform live. That caught the attention of a local TV station. She continued to perform there while going to school. She did get invited to perform the song Puppy Love on the Grand Ole Opry at the age of 13 and met Johnny Cash. She said Cash told her not just to follow her dreams, but her instincts regarding her career as well. She really came of note in country music due to her songwriting at first. She wrote several songs that would become hits for others like Kitty Wells and Hank Williams Jr. But at 19 years old, she signed with Monument Records. She thought she had broken it big. Unfortunately, Monument tried to make her into something of a pop princess. Success was not along those lines. When another one of her songs, Put It Off Till Tomorrow, became a country hit for a gentleman by the name of Bill Phillips, Monument finally relented and said, okay, country might actually be where you want. She did a country album. Her first single, entitled Dumb Blonde, went to number 24 on the country chart, and she was off and running. 1967, she started partnering up with Porter Wagoner, offered a regular slot on his weekly TV series, and she would tour with him, and with that exposure began a streak of numerous top 10 hits through 1975. But she began to realize that her star was rising while Wagoner's was fading, and she needed to break away, and she tried to sweetly talk Wagoner into it, but he wasn't hearing it. So she took pen to paper, worked up a song about it, entitled I Will Always Love You. That shot straight to the top of the country chart. Wagoner heard it, got the message, but he said, on one condition, that I become your record producer. And that's what he switched to. Elvis, by the way, wanted to record a version of that song. Dolly was willing to do it until his manager, Colonel Tom Parker, said that it was customary for the artist writing the song that Elvis performed to sign over half the publishing rights to Elvis. Dolly refused. Again, Johnny Cash, follow your instincts. In the mid to late 1970s, she took more of a mainstream shift, again, with the help of Wagoner, again, more her producer than anything else. She began to have hits not only in the country, but also on the pop charts, songs like Here You Come Again. Numerous TV appearances on television started to come up with people like Glenn Campbell, Cher, Carol Burnett, before she penned the theme for and starred in the movie 9 to 5, which topped both the pop and the country charts and the adult contemporary charts all at the same time, as well as at the box office, and kept her music career rolling as well. Scored a dozen top 10 hits over the 5 years from the mid-1970s into the early 1980s, and continued her acting career in movies like The Best Little Whorehouse in Texas. However, she also started to shift again in the late 1980s. She recorded the album Trio with Emmylou Harris and Linda Ronstadt. Started to kind of throw in a little bit more bluegrass in there. Still had some chart success, but her biggest success going into the 1990s came from the reprise of I Will Always Love You as covered by Whitney Houston for the film Bodyguard. However, despite numerous singles released at the time and numerous high-profile and award-nominated complications with everybody from Chris Christopherson to Pete Seeger and Mac Davis, chart success started to elude her, and by the early 2000s, she embraced bluegrass even more and actually recorded several albums in that genre. She, though, continued to perform, tour, and record well into the 2020s, continued those duet and compilation albums when she was informed that she got nominated in 2020 for the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Initially, she declined the nomination, but changed her mind shortly thereafter. She said that if she was voted in, she'd accept the honor. After the induction, she recorded the album Rockstar. We played a couple of cuts off of that last hour, covering numerous songs from the classic rock world, many of them duets with the performers of those songs initially, and prompted even more collaborations later on with the likes of Beyonce, more with Miley Cyrus, Sabrina Carpenter, Lainey Wilson, Reba, and many more. Away from music, she owns a company that's called the Dollywood Company. It owns and operates the Dollywood Theme Park in Pigeon Forge, Tennessee, and other attractions in the area. Actually branched out to open Dolly Parton's Stampede in both Branson and Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. She's had more than one state, Tennessee and South Carolina specifically, proclaim a Dolly Parton Day in her honor. She was able to be on hand to officially open the Coat of Many Colors Museum in June of this year. And, of course, she bought and reformed the Tennessean Truck Stop, which had caught on fire a couple of years ago. It is now open and operating. It's just off I-22 on exit 22 on I-65 in southern Tennessee. She'd often joke about her notable appearance and, well, her assets, shall we call them, saying things about like plastic surgery. And talking to Oprah Winfrey, she told her, quote, "It takes a lot of money to look this cheap." And when specifically asked about whether she would continue such surgeries, she said, quote, "If I see something sagging, bagging, or dragging, I'm going to get it nipped, tucked, or sucked." Her words, not mine. She was very philanthropic as well. Almost really too many projects to mention, but under the Dollywood Foundation are things like the Imagination Library. And if parents sign their child up for this, they mail out a book a month to each enrolled child from their birth until kindergarten, among many other efforts, including her opening up, raising the money, and donating the money to build a hospital and cancer center in the city of Sevierville, Tennessee. She has so many award nominations and honors, it would take another segment, maybe an entire hour, to list those honors. I would encourage anybody to look them up on their own. She ended up marrying Carl Thomas Dean in 1966. The couple remained married until he passed away in March of last year. They never had children, but she was noted for helping raise many of her nieces and nephews. She also began, though, to suffer some health issues after his passing, and she was kind of in and out of hospitals back in May. We talked about this earlier this morning. Reports came out she was, quote, responding well to treatment for having gone in and dealing with some intestinal issues. But reports state that she was admitted to a hospital in Nashville over the weekend, or really late last week, passed away yesterday. The cause was not immediately given. We found out later it was due to cancer. Dolly Parton was 80 years old. Tributes came pouring in. The Academy of Country Music said she leaves behind a legacy that reaches far beyond the stage. Even the Royals over in Britain.
I was about to mention that,
they've
yeah.
had,
the band of the Goldstream Guards, they broke into Dolly's 9 to 5 outside of Buckingham Palace.
Yeah.
And that just goes to show you the reach of Dolly Parton.
And President Donald Trump has ordered flags around the country to fly at half staff for 7 days.
Yeah, a whole week, an entire week. And we also got a little more information, too, this morning that maybe some kidney issues and an autoimmune. Again, she was caring for her husband for the last year, before he died. And then kind of, she admitted that maybe didn't take as good of care of herself because she was focused on taking care of him. And you just wonder, I know now that the guess is like, well, what kind of cancer did she have and how long did she have it? I don't know that we'll learn those things.
And we may never, and that's fine.
Yeah.
It's bad enough that cancer sucks anyway. And again, on top of that, she may have been starting to have some minor issues. And then as she starts to take care of her husband, and that puts it's you do it because you love them. I get it. But there is stress and there's pressure on you when you are taking care of a loved one who is really not necessarily able to help themselves in a lot of ways. And all that does is exacerbate your own health issues.
It absolutely does. Yeah. What a legend. And again, I know that just about everywhere you turned yesterday when the news came down, that's what you heard about. And today is, she was that big of a superstar. Probably, once again, if you look at all of the work that she's done over her lifetime and the good that she's done and just how loved she was, probably one of the biggest artists of our lifetime, if not
Oh,
the
yeah.
biggest
Yeah.
artist of our lifetime.
I mean, easily up there with the Elvises and the Beatles of the world. I
Absolutely.
mean, she can easily be mixed in with them without a problem.
Thank you very much for that, Steve. 9:17, back in a minute. Dixon and Vining, Talk 99.5.
Talk 99.5, talk995.com, coming back to the sounds of Dolly Parton's 9 to 5. Obviously, again, comes out off the soundtrack to the movie. Movie shoots to number 1. Song shoots to number 1 on pop, country, and adult contemporary charts. And then Jane Fonda. And I didn't include this in there, but I've
There's so much.
heard about
There's
this.
so much you could include.
Jane Fonda convinced Dolly to take the role
Uh-huh.
in 9 to 5.
Right.
And then got impressed by Dolly Parton because Dolly came in on the first day of shooting and had memorized not just her lines, but the entirety of the movie.
Did she mean to do that?
Because
like, did she think that she needed to do that?
Apparently she did.
Not just her lines?
You know, she's like, okay, so I got to know what they know what to say so I know when to jump in. So she
That
memorized.
makes sense.
She memorized everybody's lines in the scenes that she was in.
That's wild.
And when you can do that and you
Yeah.
can impress somebody, and say what you want about Jane Fonda. I know that we
Right.
all have our feelings about her, but very accomplished actress. And when you can do something that impresses Jane Fonda, you've done something.
That's pretty good. Way to go, Dolly.
Way to go.
I mean, it's just amazing.
We had a caller call in during the break and remind us that Dolly Parton, as a young girl, was on Country Boy Eddie.
That wouldn't surprise me. Wouldn't surprise me at
Yeah,
all.
she sang several times.
Was
Yeah.
she like really young at the time? Or
I'm sure she was.
a little bit older than that?
I'm
Yeah,
sure she
she
was
was
still pretty
young.
young. Yeah. I mean, Knoxville and Birmingham, not all that far away. I would imagine some, maybe some, people up in Knoxville said, hey, Birmingham, you ought to check this young girl out. And, they were able
And
to bring her
Country
down.
Boy Eddie was the man, I heard.
I remember the latter days of Country Boy Eddie. I do. Real early in the morning, though. Oof.
Yeah.
I didn't watch them a whole
I
lot.
think one of my most favorite movies that Dolly was in was Steel Magnolias.
Mhm.
I love that film, and I thought she was fantastic in it. It was 1989, I think.
Somewhere in that area. I think.
88, 89, something. But I thought she was fabulous in that, But there are so many other, if you start pulling up some of the work that she did, you're just like, oh, I forgot about that, and I forgot about this. The Christmas Many Colors, The Circle of Love,
Mhm.
if y'all remember that one, that was well done. I mean, there's just the movies she did. There's so many.
Way, way too many.
Yeah.
Way too many.
There are a lot to get to.
Again, in just looking at it, I pick and choose. I can't do, especially on a Dolly Parton.
yeah.
I can't do such
Too
an
long.
all-encompassing thing.
Mhm.
We would have been here all morning,
Sure.
and we have talked about her all morning, and deservedly so.
Yep. We were picking on Burger King just a minute ago, and I've got another story about another restaurant. But before we do
Oh,
that,
not Burger King? Okay.
yeah, let's go to Richard the cop. What's up, man? Welcome into Talk 99.5.
Couple of quick Burger King things.
Mm-hmm.
One, they really screwed up when they did away with the Dutch apple pie slice.
Don't
That
That
remember
was
that.
one of the best fast food pie slices out there.
Okay.
Number two, God rest my mama's soul when she was alive. We lived in Jasper. She lived there till she got put in assisted living. I was a full-time cop, had a house 2 doors down from her. And she popped into Burger King about a mile and a half down the road there at Airport Road 78 one night. Pulled around and ordered her food, and they handed her a bag. She pays for it. She gets back home, and my phone rings. She goes, come up here at the house. I got a problem. Okay.
Okay.
I get up there, and there was a bag of methamphetamine in her
Oh,
order.
gee, no, come on. Seriously.
And
Wow.
so apparently she gave the correct code word, and come to find out, the narcotics investigation revealed there was an off-site person that would pay. You would pay for the dope. They would get their contact up inside the Burger King, and when you pulled up and said the right thing, they put the dope in your bag when you bought your food.
Okay.
How much did she pay for that bag of food?
Yeah, how much was the food?
The person putting the dope in the bag assumed she'd already paid the seller.
Oh, okay.
Oh, is that how that is? Okay.
'Cause the way street dope works, if you do it safe, you got somebody holding the dope on the street and taking the money. And you got somebody selling on the street that'll run the money to a runner who gives you the drugs, and you run back to the car.
Mm-hmm.
and that's the way they were doing it.
Good
That's
night.
my Walker County. Roll Tide, y'all.
Thanks, Rich.
Great.
Wow. Burger King stories. Gotta love
man,
them.
oh, man.
Burger King, where we get you high.
Yeah.
Apparently.
I mean, everybody's got, a lot of you have weighed in on the text line, 545-9950, about the problems at Burger King and saying it's not really a corporate deal. It's more of a local franchise owner issue. We keep hearing that. So whoever you are that owns the local franchise, for the love, get it right.
Yeah, would you?
Because corporate's trying their darndest to fix the issue, but they can't fix our issue.
I know. That being said, that story does bring a whole new light to have it your way.
I haven't had it my way in a long time. I don't know about you, Steve.
I certainly don't want to have it with meth.
The beautiful sounds of Dolly Parton there, and we will always remember you, Dolly, for what you did with your time on this earth, and it was a lot. She made quite a difference in a lot of lives and brought us joy with her music and her movies and her personality, bigger than life personality, and just it's fun to see some of the clips today and just remember that and all the things that she did. Speaking of fun, let's kind of move the direction a little bit about getting you out on a beautiful lake. We got an incredible weekend coming up with temperatures around 88, 89 degrees. I think that's perfect boating weather. Our good friends over at Rodney's Marine know all about boats. They all know about the Suzuki engines. They believe in the Suzuki engines. They come with a 5-year motor protection, and they use these engines because they know some of the best. They're quiet and fuel efficient and reliable, and they're going to get you up and across the lake like you want to go. Rodney's Marine, we wholeheartedly believe in everything that Rodney does out there. Takes such good care of Talk 99.5 listeners and anyone that buys a boat from him, quite frankly. He can outfit it with all kinds of accessories, talking about lights and stereo systems and anything else you need for your boat, maybe tow ropes, whatever it may be. Rodney will take good care of you from the time that you get on the lot and you look around at all the different boats. Maybe you purchase that boat, put it on a trailer if you need it hauled off to some other lake across central Alabama. Rodney says, yeah, you don't have to necessarily have a place here on Lake Logan Martin in Cropwell to buy a boat from him. He'll get that boat delivered to you to wherever it is that you are. Give him a call today, 525-1500, if you want to rent a boat maybe for the upcoming weekend. See about the availability of that, maybe a special occasion you've got and you want to do something different. Take your family, take your friends out on a boat at Rodney's Marine. Follow them on Facebook and visit their website. It is rodneysmarine.com. Rodney's is one of the largest Starcraft and Suzuki dealers in the state of Alabama, so you're dealing with a group of people that's top-notch. They know what they're doing, and we, again, really love what Rodney does out at Rodney's Marine. Give him a call, 525-1500. Well, this isn't such good news, and maybe I'm hoping this isn't what's flying around and we're having to deal with a little bit, but the number of COVID cases has been increasing across the country, and it seems kind of like an odd time of the year. Usually when we start cranking up the heat and it's the middle of the winter, you hear about these cases, but
I think now that we're starting to get back to school, starting to be more inside, much more in close proximity to each other, vacations are over.
Yeah,
I think that has a lot to do with it.
That's kind of sad to think about,
I know.
Steve. Thanks.
Well,
the leaves are changing a little bit. Temperatures dropping just a little bit. We're seeing some of the signs of fall. So, yeah maybe you're right about this. So they are seeing that there are some upticks in some parts of the country, not everybody, but the CDC has put this out that COVID-19 infections are growing and likely growing in 47 states. So, if you see a little bit of an uptick in that, might want to increase your vitamin C and maybe your vitamin D, get a little bit of sunlight on you and take good care of you, get your rest and get your, be sure you're eating right and things like that.
Yeah.
You're probably exactly right about that because kids are back in school and they're like, hi, Mom. Hi, Dad. I'm home. Like, hugs, kisses, and somebody in the class, had something and you barely know it, with a younger kid.
It's weird, and I didn't even realize this was a thing out of USA Today. There's a Stanford University-led group called Wastewater Scan. This is a group that tracks diseases by testing wastewater samples across the nation. They say that by their statistics, from July to August, COVID cases are up 105%.
Wow, that's a pretty big increase. And again, are we the differences between flu and COVID? It's almost like, now when people get the flu, they go, oh, I have COVID. And they're like, oh, COVID. It's the flu, right? You get a little increase in temperature. Some people get through it fairly easy. Others, the side effects and things that you have to deal with are a little more significant.
Yeah.
But
and it may also depend on what other health issues you may or may not be having.
Yeah.
So,
exactly.
All of this stuff has different effects, whether it's the regular old pneumonia or whether you're talking about COVID-19 or whatever it is that you're talking about.
Mm-hmm. Also, let's update you again for those of you this morning. It really was a huge deal yesterday, but we wanted to let you know the status of what was going on I-65 southbound near the Shelby County Airport. There was apparently a truck going through there that had equipment on the back of it. That equipment was a little too high, and it clipped that bridge. And a lot of the concrete, we've seen images of that, a lot of the concrete came crashing down. There were some other vehicles involved, 2 people injured, 1 critically, obviously taken to the hospital and taken care of there. But this did an immense amount of damage to the bridge. And then you also have the situation where you have all this concrete, and they had to get it up yesterday. So it took about 7 or 8 hours of I-65 southbound in that area being closed. I thought maybe it might be closed for a lot longer than that, just based on what happened to that bridge. But here's what they're doing. Last night, they reopened I-65 southbound, so you're okay to get through there now. That's at exit 234, Calera. But the problem remains for the bridge itself. We understand that there is 1 lane open. The southbound lane of the bridge itself will remain closed for a few weeks until the damaged section can be repaired, and that's going to be a big job because they're already doing all that other construction in that site, and it's difficult to get through.
Yeah, it's not easy to get through, and as we were talking about earlier, found out just last hour that bridge is over 60 years old. It's listed as only fair in the Federal Registry of Bridges, so it does make you wonder, is this an opportunity that, yeah, it's going to make it a little bit more inconvenient for a little while, but take all the measurements that you need, get all the stuff properly set, and try and deliver this thing in precast pieces maybe, and maybe replace the bridge.
Yeah, and you can imagine if, scheduling a road project like the one that they are working on right now sometimes takes years, and then there's the money to get together. Then you get your crews out there. They've been working on that for quite some time. You have to really slow down because it narrows down.
Oh, yeah.
And is a little bit I did it coming back from the beach, earlier this month. And, you really have to be cautious. You got a lot of workers in the area. Mm-hmm. You got to slow it way down. And I'm sure the crews yesterday were like, what the heck is going on? Somebody plows into that, the overhead bridge part, and you just say to yourself, gosh, how in the world did that happen? Yeah. Somebody didn't do the right measurements. They didn't realize that the equipment on the back of the truck
shifted, whatever it was.
Or lifted up or something like that. But what an absolute mess. And
I'm not trying to throw blame at the people who were there because it's certainly not their fault. But you get into a situation where you're in construction. You've gone from 65 South through Alabaster, which is 4 lanes, drops down to 2, and you tend to follow, and everybody kind of packs in, and you don't have the time to react when this happens. You don't have the time enough to react because you don't have enough room between you and the truck that was in front of you that hit the particular underside of the bridge. And unfortunately, I get all that stuff that lands on your car and injures people.
Yeah, I'm sure some of that concrete going through some of the windshields of some of those cars. But a scary, I actually was on the road, on the interstate yesterday going 65 South, and that was, up toward us, Oxmoor Road. Mm-hmm. And I had a couple of police officers flying past me, and you could see them still headed down 65. So I was like, are they headed to that accident? Because initially, some of the 911 calls, it sounded as if the entire bridge had collapsed. So
that was the initial thought. The initial headline was bridge collapse, and you immediately think about what happened like downtown.
Yeah,
where the bridges literally did collapse.
Yeah. So you had, they were asking law enforcement from a number of different agencies to come down there and help. And I think once they got there and they realized it was bad, but not as bad as a complete, total collapse. Because somebody called in and said, it had collapsed. Yes, but not to the point where you've got cars underneath the bridge with the bridge on top of the vehicle. So that would have been an entirely different situation. But I did think about that yesterday. I was like, whoa, we got some blue lights coming up behind me. Where are they headed to? And, I went down, was past 459, headed toward Valleydale Road, and they were still flying down the interstate.
Yeah, and I was kind of curious because these things back up really, really quick, and I get it. I'm when I go home, I get off at the Tank Farm exit, which is 4 miles before where they were shoving everybody off the interstate in Alabaster and sending them down 31. But knowing how fast those things kind of back up, I just thought on my way home, I'm just going to double check and make sure. And traffic hadn't backed up that bad at that point in time, so I was able to, to get down the interstate with no problem. But I kept thinking about all those people that were going to be going after
right
and
in it.
continue down it, and no disrespect. Like, we've got truckers who listen to us. Trucker Rick just texted in, by the way, had a funny Burger King story that he texted in. So we got truckers that listen to us, but not all the truckers listen to us. They may be listening to satellite radio, or they may have nothing on at all. And so they don't get the notification that this is coming up, and you just feel for them. They're like, okay, what the heck is going on now?
Mm-hmm.
And now I got to go through. I got to admit, I've got the ultimate amount of respect for these truckers that are, whether you're local or whether you're nationwide, it doesn't matter. But the stuff you got to deal with.
Phew. No,
Good
thank
night
you.
almighty.
All right, 9:48. Don't forget, we got the question of the day that is coming up on Talk 99.5. 9:54. Talk 99.5, talk995.com. You know what I was thinking about yesterday when we got the news of Dolly and had a couple of minutes to just let that wave go over you. I started thinking about all of the celebrities, specifically in the last year or two, that have passed away. And one of the ones that came to mind was Jimmy Buffett. And I started thinking, like, you know, what a party in heaven right now with some of these singers and actors and things like that with Dolly Parton there. It's just like, wow, we're really losing.
We are.
And with each year that goes by, it's just like, well, wait a minute, how old are they? And they're like, well, they're 80, they're 84. You know, they're all of these wonderful people that we're losing, and they're a part of our childhood. They're a part of our upbringing.
And that's what makes it hurt a little bit more. I mean, I remember hearing about, you know, when I was a kid, you know, obviously everybody remembers Elvis passing away. But Elvis passing away didn't hit me as hard because I turned 9 that year.
Yeah.
You know?
A little too young to fully absorb what he was all about.
I could understand that Elvis was big, but it hit my parents more than it hit me. On the other hand, I grew up with Dolly. It hits harder.
Yeah.
It just does.
It does. It does. And again, when you hear the songs, it's just like, oh, you know, you're killing me. I mean, literally, you're like, this is like really difficult. But, you know, it's great to have her songs. John Bird, great job with the bumper music.
Thank you, ma'am.
This morning, it's been a delight to hear some of those songs and at least bring us a little smile that way. All right, it is time to get into it. The question of the day.
Dixon and Vining's question of the day.
All right, John Bird, we'll go with you first.
I'm ready.
Question of the day is, if you could switch jobs for 1 week, what would the job be? If you could switch jobs for 1 week, what would the job be?
I've got two real quick.
Two?
Okay, half a week each. I would like to be I'd like to be a
4 days here,
luthier.
3 days there.
Yes, I'd like to be a luthier, which is a guitar maker.
Okay.
And I also would like to be a kid storyteller.
Aw.
Oh, okay.
So I could be a kid storyteller
With the
that
guitar.
makes
With the guitar.
Oh my gosh, that's it. That's what I want to do. That's it.
He's going to need like a
That's
month
very
off.
sweet, John. That's very, yeah, I think maybe so. Yeah. Steve West, what do you got?
In coming in the morning, I will double check the family radio stations. You know, so I'll listen to us and I'll listen to like Red Eye Radio and, you know, ABC News, make sure everything's running properly. And then I'll turn it over to our sister station, Jocks, make sure everything's running fine over there. And the more I listen to it, and I've done this for many, many years,
Yeah.
I would love to do Sports Center all night on ESPN Radio.
Really?
I would.
Wow.
I'd love to do that. I think it would be a blast.
1 week or forever? We can't lose you,
1
Steve.
week, you know.
You can't go.
Do it for 1 week and let's see exactly how freaked out I am at the end of it. Like, that was harder than I thought. Or maybe it was just an absolute dream, but I'd love to do it.
You know, mine is, and if I were good enough, but I'm not, I wouldn't be. If I were young enough and maybe started sooner, professional golfer for 1 week, because I think that's
There you
about all I could handle. If you got to practice and then you're going to play a tournament Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday,
Yeah.
I'm like, phew.
There's the pressure, man.
I mean, it sounds like, oh, they only have to play golf 4 days a week. No, there's a whole lot more to it.
They're practicing every
But
day.
I think it would be fun just to see what that would feel like. Like,
Sure.
you know, go
1 week
through
could
that.
give you a really good idea of exactly the whole schedule of the traveling, what you're doing when you're not at the golf course, you're practicing that you got. Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah, it might be fun. And again, just for 1 week. That's all. Rose weighs in this morning. Again, our question of the day is, if you could switch jobs for 1 week, what would the job be? She says choir director, and we'd sing the old hymns.
There you
Amen, sister. Love the old hymns. Craig says anything that gets me on the International Space Station for 1 week. Oh, that would be, that's a good one, Craig.
I like that. That's good.
Just as long as I can get out of there and get home safely. That's the part.
That's could be a trick.
That's the one.
Yeah.
Yeah. Zach said Amazon CEO for a week. It could be a good check. Yeah, that could be a good check.
1 week check. Yeah, I bet you would be pretty good.
Scott says ring taxi driver.
Ring taxi driver.
Yeah, in Germany.
Oh.
They have high performance BMWs that you can hire to drive you at high speed around the 13-mile track. So they
Oh, the
get paid.
Nürburgring ring.
Yeah.
Okay, got it.
So they get paid to drive the track. That's not a bad one.
Sure, I could go for that.
Jerry wants to be a lottery drawer.
That's smart.
I like that one.
Here's my numbers, by the way. Here's my numbers that got picked.
Chuck says a stay-at-home dad. You know what, Chuck? You'd want to do that only 1 week.
Yeah, probably.
That's exactly right. Tom says restaurant reviewer or critic. Good one.
Mhm. Gained a lot of weight in that week.
Nancy says fighter pilot. Oh, yes, I
good.
want to do that.
I like that. That's good.
Ooh, so much fun. All right, we're going to leave it there. You guys, thank you so much for your responses to our question of the day. Programming note again, no Andrew McLean. He's under the weather. Hopefully back tomorrow. Hopefully Richard back tomorrow. Steve, thank you very much for all you
Happy
do.
to do it.
John Bird, you're the best. Hanging in there another 4 hours.
Thank you, dear.
Will is coming up in just a few minutes with a couple of guests. That's on the way. Have a great day, everybody.